Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I get free. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julius, and a happy pre-Valentine's Day to you.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you, pre-Valentine's Day. And welcome to the center.
Okay.
Welcome to our center.
And it's going to be a wonderful,
It
wonderful
is
day.
special Valentine's Center.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If you will, please close your eyes with me right now. And simply take a deep breath in through your nose, allowing the presence of God to fully enter every vein and every muscle and every cell in your body. And as you exhale any aggravation you may have had during the week or even this morning, just let it go. It doesn't exist anymore. What exists right now is right here and right now. And one more time, I invite you to take a deep breath in. And as you do, inhale the oneness of God that I feel in this room. Give yourself an opportunity to be right here in the presence, leading the little me out the door and allowing your true self to be present right now. And that is that self that is the likeness of God. And as you're doing that with your eyes closed and relaxing, I'd like to read an excerpt to you from A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And after I read this, we'll contemplate for just a moment or so, and I'll bring you back when it's time. The elimination of time from your consciousness is the elimination of ego. It is the only true spiritual practice. What we are speaking of is the elimination of psychological time, which is the egoic mind, endless preoccupation with the past and future, and its willingness, or rather its unwillingness, to be one with life by living in alignment with the inevitable isness of the present moment. Whenever a habitual no to life turns into a yes, whenever you allow this moment to be as it is, you dissolve time as well as the ego. For the ego to survive, it must make time, past and future, important than the present moment. Time is the horizontal dimension of life, the surface of reality. Then there is a vertical dimension of death, accessible to you only through the portal of the present moment. So having said that, I invite you to allow this moment to be the only moment there is right now. As you feel the sacredness of this center. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and allow today to be a glorious day, because that's what it is. Namaste.
I know that this is a very good day, and so I invite you to close your eyes and to breathe in the good that is already happening. And as we let go, recognize with me that God is one with all. I recognize that this good is everywhere present. God is limitless power, creating, giving, knowing. And so as I experience this moment, I know that God loved itself so much that it created me. And I can't help but to come from a loving heart when I speak a word for good. For it is God speaking through me, acting through me, and giving through me. And so I realized that the center is a place for love. I know that everybody who shows up, who is here, comes with willingness to hear of this loving presence that exists no matter where we are standing. I speak the word for the nation, the world, the universe, for peace. For I know that everywhere I go, there is God accepting me exactly as it has created me. And so I also speak the word for the reverence today, that comes so prepared. I know that it is God giving the message through them, as they are the vehicles of love. I know this service is already the perfection of God. I am so grateful to be standing here in holy ground. I'm grateful for the word of God spoken in this place that goes out and reaches all the spaces in the universe. And I am grateful to be that representation of love. I'm grateful that as I speak what I know in my heart, I can recognize it in everyone. For God is one and the only Spirit that exists. And so I release my word into that law, knowing it is already done. And together we say, so it is.
So, the title of our talk today is wait for it. Good and or God comes through the wound. And it's an interesting topic. We had a lot of discussion about this, but we thought it was an interesting topic for Valentine's Day. So, what we have come to understand is that in life, to live a good life, a happy life, a life worth living, it's actually made up of two equations. And the first part of the equation has to do with the relationship that you have with yourself. And that's much more dynamic when we take a moment and we think about what the great master teacher once said. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So your relationship with yourself is not just with yourself, but it's with the universe, with God. And so how we manage that and how we treat that is very, very important in the equation of being happy. And Reverend STACI and Reverend CHERYL are going to talk about that a bit more in a few minutes. Now, the second half of the equation for a happy life is your relationship with the other beings on this planet, the other human beings, and all of the other, as Buddha, as the Dalai Lama says, all other sentient beings. See, we're surrounded by other beings that feel, that think, that know emotion and pain. Some of them have fur, and some of them have scales, and some fly, and some have shells. And the great spiritual leaders of this species, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and now great leaders of compassion in our time, and I know I'm saying his name wrong, Wayne Pacelli, who is the CEO and president of the Humane Society of the United States. And let all of these great leaders teach us, and they do it in their own way, through their own passion, in their own language. But each one of them tells us that how we relate to, how we interact with, how we treat the other beings, human and otherwise, but how we treat the beings around us determines the quality, the level of pain, and the number of wounds on this planet. And they go on to say, and most definitely, how you are treating those around you will determine the quality of your own life, the amount of pain in your own life, the number of wounds that you experience in your own life. Now, the good news is that each one of these great leaders say that there are 3 ways that you can cultivate a life, that you can create a life free of wounds. And so they begin with this. Number 1, awaken others to their magnificence. We change people and how they act through life when we help them affirm their magnificence, when we help them see their magnificence and the magnificence of the others around them. You see, if you want to know what heaven, if it were a place up in the clouds somewhere, I can tell you what that would look like. It would be a group of beings who knew how magnificent they are, but at the same time can see the magnificence of those around them. That is heaven. Creating this, just might be easier than you think. And it might just look like this.
Say, I am strong.
I am strong.
And I am smart.
I am smart.
And I work hard.
I work hard.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am respectful.
I am respectful.
Yeah. Say, I'm not better than anyone.
I'm not better than anyone.
Nobody's better than me.
No one's better than me.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am great.
I am great.
What's your name?
Aaliyah Austin.
If you fall,
I get back up.
what are you?
I'm blessed.
Yes. Say thank you, God,
Thank you, God,
for making me
for making me
the greatest.
the greatest.
There's nobody
There's nobody
better
better
than me.
than me.
All right, give me 5. Let me see.
Took a minute of his day to help his daughter see her magnificence. So, next, secondly, the great ones teach us that to be happy in life, we must learn to find a way to recognize and celebrate the uniqueness of each person. I found this very interesting. So much came up for me as I was praying about this and working through this. But the God of my being said, by design, each person is made unique. And the God of my being said, and what people don't understand is that my making each of you unique, that is how I gift the world. Your uniqueness is my greatest gift. And then as I prayed about that, I found it interesting that it is our uniqueness that we use to tear each other apart.
Come on now.
Every being yearns for their uniqueness to be seen, their uniqueness to be heard. Just get around a room of teenagers. Watch the ways, the extremes that sometimes they go through for you to see them, to see who they are and how powerful and unique they are. It might just be easier than you think to do that. And it might just look something like this.
come in with, situation at home that's not ideal. So therefore, when they come into school, I want this to be their sanctuary. Like I want them to be excited to come to school, because before I'm able to deliver a substantial amount of content to them, they have to buy into me. They have to invest in the teacher itself.
I don't know. You ready? You ready?
Please get one.
But one thing that's going to stick with them forever is how did Mr. White treat me and out to this grade. It kind of draws them in, and once I have them in and have their trust, you're invested in me, then I can deliver my content, see the academic side of it increase. So that's really why I do it, and to bring joy to them. I mean, I feel like every student needs a little bit of joy in their lives. It doesn't matter what it is, every student. That's been one of the biggest things for me, like those messages from other educators. I'm talking about past of them 20, 50 years in the game. Oh my God, I had tears in my eyes. I can't wait to go to school. I'm gonna try this for my students. I mean, that was so amazing to me. I'm all about bringing joy to people's lives, man, and inspiring others to do so. So hopefully everybody can start doing their big classroom, making a big thing, worldwide thing, something cool.
And every morning they line up. And it took a little time for each of them to create their own handshake, and they practiced. And every morning they line up, and in 59 seconds, each one of them is recognized for their uniqueness. 59 seconds.
Wow. Awesome.
And so finally, the third way the great ones tell us that we can create a happy life, a wound-free life, is that when another is wounded, we are to heal them. There are so many wounded in the world today. I think sometimes if we took the energy that we spend sitting in front of the television and yelling and scratching and clawing and resisting and persisting everything that is wrong in the world, if we took that energy and found something to be for, found something to be healed, imagine. And don't wait for someone else to do it. Don't wait for God to do it. Because the fact of the matter is, you are God's love. You are God's power. You are God's hands. You can heal the world. My mother, who is so wise, said that, when she was a little girl and the Nazi war machine moved into Europe, decimated Europe. And of course, Germany grasped France in its hands and was choking the life out of this little country. And my mother said it was the closest thing to evil that you could witness. And she said, I remember praying as a little girl that somehow God would help us. And one day, American troops and American tanks rolled into France and snatched France out of the hands of the Nazis. And my mother said, that day, I saw God. And it wasn't until later in life that I looked back that I realized that God does God's work through the other people in the world. That day, God showed up in skin. But you can be a miracle today. You can heal wounds today, right where you are. And I would like to say, it could just be as easy as this. But sometimes it ain't easy. And sometimes you have to make a decision and make choices. Because sometimes it looks like this.
This is Miss Dot and Trooper. Bath time. How often does Trooper have a bath, Miss Dot?
Every 3 days, sometimes more, depending if we're going out with him somewhere. I hear that people don't like smelling a stinky raccoon. They in his Alberto VO5. Which is strawberries and cream. So it smells good. And then we put it on his hands and down his little belly and on his legs. And then we do this because he's ticklish. We put his tickle thing in his mouth. And I tell him that we have to wash his feet off really good. Doesn't wear shoes.
That's probably enough for him, Russell. That raccoon's name is Trooper. And one day when Trooper was a baby, he lived on a golf course. And 2 golfers were playing golf one day and saw Trooper and beat him with their clubs. And as soon as they were done beating him, they got in a golf cart and started laughing and drove away. And someone witnessed this and called this young lady and said, I think we have a problem. And she was a wildlife rescue advocate. And so she went to the golf course, and when she saw him, she said, I'm not sure he's going to make it home. She said, I took him home, and for 5 days I held him in my arms, and he did not move. And she said, I made the decision to euthanize him, and just as I had made that decision, he yawned. And his legs moved. And she began to rehabilitate him. Except in the state that she lived in, you cannot harbor wildlife in your home. And so if he was not able to care for himself, they would have to do something with him. So she sold everything she owned and moved to Florida. And now she and Trooper travel all over the world. And what she teaches people is this. When we don't respect each other's beingness, we wound each other. We lose. So I encourage you to allow this Valentine's Day to be an opportunity to see the wounds in others and to heal those wounds. Because the great ones also remind us that when we help others see their magnificence, we get to see our own. And when we recognize and celebrate other people's uniqueness, we finally see and celebrate our own uniqueness. And when we heal others' wounds, ultimately we heal ourselves. Happy Valentine's Day. Namaste.
A little dance or something? Practice that very well. For those of you that don't know, that's called giving dap. You guys familiar with that term? Dap? Dap is yeah. DAP. It's dignity and pride. It's an African American term. That yeah. Mostly African American men, they'll give each other some dap. Giving each other some love. So, cool. Yeah. I know, I'm African American. How do I know that? I don't know. Good morning. Good morning. Well, they're beautiful. Well, they're beautiful. So, Bertram, can you see this? Yeah. The scar. The wound. The wound. The scar. You guys see that? It's kind of going away now. I doubt that it will ever completely go away. Oh, wow. But the scar came about when I was about 14 years old. And I grew up in a household, much like the one that you saw in the first video, where somebody always held me up and told me how smart I was and how beautiful I was and how blessed I am. And that no one was better than me. And I was no one better than anyone else. And at 14 years old, my world got changed because my parents said they were getting divorced. And so I felt life wasn't fair. I felt betrayed. I felt that I couldn't trust. And my world changed because I wasn't spoiled, but I was blessed. Okay? I didn't have to do much. My job was to go to school and to get good grades and take piano lessons and do my sports and all that kind of good stuff. And then at 14, my world changed, right? I had to do a few more things around the house. So I remember right around the time when they had told me that they were getting divorced, I had to put a frozen pizza in the oven or something. I'd never done anything. I've never done any cooking at all. But my brother and I were by ourselves. And at the time, they hadn't decided to leave yet, but it was at that critical state, like one doesn't want to be with the other one, but the other one were home right after school. And so I was putting the frozen pizza in the oven and burned my arm. That burn was what my thoughts created based upon how I was feeling. That's what the law of my being created. And it's kind of my Achilles heel, unfairness, betrayal, which is really, betrayal is just control. I don't have control over the situation, so we can call it betrayal. And not trusting. And so I look at that every now and then when I'm feeling some of those things, like that. It'll probably never quite go away. But I have, because it's something that I will always have to work on. Because I feel those feelings rise up in me when I feel that somebody is not being fair. So perhaps that's my soul's purpose. To realize those things and to work on those things. And the trust thing, you know, where CHERYL asked me a long time ago, I have this thing about trust. And I didn't get my trust back until practitioner training. And Cheryl's like, well, faith and trust are the same thing. I said, no, they're not. No, they're not. And I never really could explain what I meant. But there was another explanation that I came across yesterday. A little story. Quite often the words faith and trust are tossed about in religious circles. These words are used like salt seasoning any dialogue with a distinctly Christian flavor. But what do they mean? Is faith the same as trust? If not, what is the difference? Faith is a noun, and trust is a verb. Trust is faith in action. It is the manifestation of our faith in our thoughts and actions. While faith says God can, trust says God is. And I will think and act accordingly. It is far easier to have faith in God. There are unbelievers who have this. It is a lot harder to exercise trust. A short analogy. The Great Blondin. In the late 1800s, there was a great performer named Jean-Francois Revelot. He was known as the Great Blondin. He was a daredevil of sorts, a tightrope walker specifically. One of his greatest stunts involved walking a tightrope high above the world-famous Niagara Falls. Blondin performed this death-defying feat more than once, adding elements of difficulty each time. Once he even carried his manager on his back. Blondin was quite the showman. He had a knack for engaging the crowd, stirring the suspense and excitement. Upon completing one attempt, he asked the crowd if they believed his second attempt would be a successful one. The crowd unanimously agreed it would. Always looking to better his last great feat, Blondin now asked the crowd if they believed he could cross the falls on a tightrope while pushing a wheelbarrow. Having seen his previous stunt and how seemingly easy it was for him, the crowd had no doubt he could pull off this new, more difficult one. Again, the response was unanimous. The crowd had no doubt that the Great Blondin could do it. Blondin was ready to attempt this amazing feat that only he could do, but before he set out on the road, he had one last question for the crowd. Which one of you will ride in the wheelbarrow? The crowd was frozen, still silent. Not a single man or woman responded to his challenge. All of those people witnessed Blondin cross the falls on the road. They gained first-hand knowledge of his abilities. They had a well-founded belief that he could perform the more difficult stunt. Yet, it was my Really? Seriously? You two are cute. Basically, nobody would get in the wheelbarrows. Do you have faith, or do you just trust? It took me a while, a long while. Practitioner training was much after me being 14 years old. Okay, 8 weeks out. But you see, I was the person that would always want to hear somebody's story. And I would be there, I wanted to help. And by helping, I'd be there to listen and give my advice. I'd be a soft place to land. And that was actually a distraction for me not licking my own wounds and curing myself. We all know people like that sometimes, and maybe you're one of those people that looks for a distraction, something outside of yourself. And in practitioner training, or just even the first year of classes, I had the opportunity to look into myself and cure and heal that what needed to be healed. Dr. Ernest Holmes says in the text on page 435, We talked about self-healing. Self-healing must come first of all. If we think we can guide our brother aright or sister aright while our own feet still walk in darkness, we are mistaken. We must first clarify our own vision. Then we shall become as lights, lighting the way for others. But can we teach a lesson we have not learned? Can we give that which we do not possess? To suppose so is hypocrisy, a thing to be shunned. Jesus tears the mantle of unreality from the shoulders of hypocrisy, winnowing from the shoal of sham and shallowness its last shred of illusion. We cannot see reality until our own eyes are open, until the light of eternal truth is struck deeply into our own souls. So take the time to heal yourselves before going outside and trying to heal somebody else. So, thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Stacey. I've never heard that story.
I know.
But I did get the lesson. I did get, finally, I was a minister about the trust. And thank goodness. Thank you, Reverend Stacey, for that lesson. You know, Reverend Dan and Reverend Stacey both spoke about, God is, I don't know, I might have typed God good, but God comes through the womb. I think of good also. To me, God and good are synonymous with one another. Now Reverend Wine is not here today, but we had a wonderful gathering at her house, the Ministry of Prayer team, around Christmas time, and one of the gifts she gave each of us, and she's been a minister for a long time. Now, I don't know how long, but I know a long time, almost all my life. She's not here. But she gave us all, like she had just moved, she has a ton of Science of Mind magazines, like from the beginning of time. We know that Science of Mind turned 90 this year, right? Last year. And so, don't tell her I said that either. And this one actually, she gave to Reverend, it was one of Reverend Stacey's, and it was from March of 1998. But, and in it is an article, obviously Ernest Holmes didn't write it in 1998, but it's called What Heals. Now, Reverend Dan and Reverend Stacey talked about how to heal and the thing and how to heal others, and you can't do it for yourself unless you're willing to do it for others, and all of that, which is wonderful. However, in this article, it does talk about what heals, and it's important to know what heals. And does anyone know the answer to that? No. There you go. I knew you all would know. Well, in his, I might let you, actually I'll make you a copy. I can't give it to you. It's not mine. It's Reverend Stacey's. But Reverend Wanda is awesome. It's like, it says, no one can say, I will accept God's healing, but not express God's love. At all. It also said, he also says, hatred and healing can never abide in the same consciousness, nor in the same body, for that matter. Love heals, and only love heals. Only. So if there's anything that any of you are holding against someone or some bitterness towards someone, and I know there are people that cannot even walk through your mind without you feeling something that, you all know that person, whoever it is, or that thing, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a human being. But I know that it's not safe for them to walk through your mind. And one of the exercises I would like for you to do after you, well, you can do it right now in your mind, or after you leave here today, is to think about that person. Write that person's name down that you're maintaining or holding some bitterness towards. Then write down how you feel about them. Now, an example I can give you is when I'm with Stacy, I feel angry and annoyed. Now this is a fictional statement, but I thought it would be safe to use someone that I know, the name that I used for 20 years, and I'd have the rest of the month to explain to her what I meant.
If you're so lucky.
If I'm so lucky. Because I didn't want to use, what if I accidentally use someone else's name? So I decided to just use someone I completely, who knows that I love them. So change that to when whoever walks into the room and you feel angry and annoyed, I want you to change that to, I now choose to bless her and release her from all expectations and set her free. I want you to do that all week with whoever you write on that list. This person makes me feel anxious and annoyed. Then you say, now I choose to bless them and set them free and have no expectations of them at all. But I also want you to continue this, not just this week. I want you to also say that I refuse to see anything but good or God. I'm supposed to say God in them. Healing shows up when we realize our oneness with God, with good, and with everyone. That is what heals. All right. That is what comes through the wound. Even if you're feeling wounded, love heals. And you all, most of you said it, so I know you all know. So whoever that person is that cannot even cross your mind, that's where you begin. Like Reverend STACI said, or was it Reverend Dan said, you know, if you're not able to love the person that you think you don't like or hate, I don't want to use the word hate, but you gotta work on that. You gotta work on it. It's easy for me to say, but I know that it's not a simple thing. So I'm attempting to give you something that's simple as writing their name down, saying what you don't like, and changing that story. Because until you can see God good in each and every person, you're carrying around wounds, and I promise you, you don't want them. And I think you know you don't want them. So I'm telling you to carry love with you. Okay. The instructions, the affirmations. The affirmation is, I refuse to see anything but good in everyone. But the one about the individual person is, I now choose to bless them and release them from all expectations and set them free. Because this obviously your judgment and what you're expecting them to do is obviously not within his control, really. You know, like Reverend says, you want them to do a certain thing or behave a certain way. But they get to do it their way. They get to do it however the heck they want to. And you don't have to like it, but I would suggest you learn to love it. Or just love them. You may not like the action, but you can certainly love them. You know, one of my newer teachers, Panache Desai, who is he's one of those contemporary New Thought teachers. At the end of every talk, because I get the emails and I get the videos and everything, because the first time I saw him on Oprah, I just fell in love with him. He's 30. But at the end of every talk, he says, I love you, and thank you for loving me. Okay, so that's what I'm saying to you. I love you, and thank you for loving me. Ceremony that she would like to perform with you all, and the ushers are coming around bringing you a little gift.
Thank you. Somebody getting married?
Yeah, all of you. Like right here. Now, no judgment about how it's decorated, because I've never done this before. So I came here with a good friend of mine, Mary Monson, and she helped me on Saturday. We spent 3 hours doing this. And I put weights on it thinking that would help. But it will help. We're going to be a stay up for me and Dan. All right, the ushers are bringing around a nice little present for you.
We're going to recommit to ourselves. Remember this from last year? So the ushers are bringing around your vow that you say.
They're gonna hold their,
You will hold your vow, and then after I'm done, you will place your ring, your finger.
we'll take the ring off and just, she'll tell you what to do.
Did you get one?
Thank you, ushers, that was fast.
If you all want to stand up with me while I read you.
If you're not able to stand up.
If you can stand, that's perfectly fine. Okay. So if you would just close your eyes if you would, and put your hand over your heart. I will make my happiness a priority and forgive myself when I'm not perfect. My happiness is a priority and forgive myself when I'm not perfect. I will trust myself and stand within the power of my own strength.
I will trust myself and stand within the power of my own strength.
I will love myself forevermore.
I will love myself forevermore.
Through good and bad. Thick and thin. I promise I will never, ever settle for less than what my heart and soul desire. I say I do to a life of passion, purpose, and prosperity. You have the ring off there. With this ring, I be wed.
This ring.
And so it is.
So it is.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
All right, I'd like to ask any visiting ministers or practitioners to please come forward. All right, I would like to ask our practitioner interns to come forward, even if she needs to use her walker. And Miss, all right, and I would like to ask the,
Look at this one, yeah.
I know, I would like to ask, I know, look at you showing out. Yeah,
It doesn't work unless you work it.
I would like to ask our licensed practitioners to please surround us. And what I also wanted to mention at What Heals, if you have any problem doing that, go to one of them. They can help you. I promise they can help you. It would be awesome. And we're practitioners too, so it's all good. All right, if you want to stand. And could we all stand, please? Oh, okay. Who's going in? Am I doing the benediction? All right. Let's just breathe and know that this is a great, good day. And that God heals, love heals, and so do we. I am knowing today is just perfect. I'm knowing that it is all love all the time. And everyone is able to heal those old wounds and move forward in their lives. And just love and be loved that they are and recognize the magnificence that they are. I'm just grateful to know that for each and every one of you. I know that each and every one of you stay with us and join us for our second Sunday brunch. And if you have to go, it's okay. Because love goes with you. I'm just so grateful to join and be here every Sunday and be taught by these wonderful children behind me. You know, let's just say so it is.